Hi guys, Maikeru here. This is my video talking about account goals for Double XP Live. Double XP is coming up on the 19th of February, and I just want to talk about some goals that I personally would set myself or activities I would do in order to push my account forward. So let's get right into it. Starting off with the obvious one. Everyone tells you this, everyone says this: prioritize your buyable skills if you can. If you have any excess money that you can spend on your skills, spend them on a buyable skill. You save 2 times the money and 2 times the time. And there are 3 main skills I would advise investing your money into for double XP. The first one would be Herb Lore. Unlocking overloads is such a huge DPS increase, and it also makes you so much more tanky. Doing PVM without overloads, especially bossing, is shooting yourself in the leg, and I would always advise getting overloads before doing bossing. You can boost up 7 levels with a pulse core boost in like a portables world, so you actually only need 89 Herb Lore in order to boost up to 96 for overloads. 89 Herb Lore really doesn't cost too crazy amounts of money nowadays, especially if you do it with something like super strengths, super attacks, etc. They really don't lose too much money on double XP. If you can, push an extra level for Holy Overloads. Holy Overloads also give you a prayer and all buff, and they're actually cheaper per dose than normal overloads, because you turn a 4-dose overload into a 6-dose overload with just using prayer and all potions. This gives you more doses of overload and saves you a ton of money. So if I was going to aim for anything with entry level PVM, it'd be making Holy Overloads. If you're going for 120 Herb Lore, I'd advise stocking up on some Elder Overloads and then just making Power Bursts or Vuln Bombs for the rest of your XP. Another huge one would be unlocking Invention. 80 smithing and crafting are way cheaper on double XP. They are buyables as well. Not only are smithing and crafting easier, so is divination. Divination can be trained in Hall of Memories at 70+. Hall of Memories is amazing on double XP because there's parties going all the time. Utilizing these parties is a really good way to get 80 divination, or 99 if you're ever going to go for that. This also benefits Iron Men. Iron Men can go and participate in those parties even though they don't get more XP. That's worth it. And lastly, the third main buyable I would recommend would be summoning. Use up all of your summoning charms. Get as much levels in summoning as you possibly can. It gives you 2 times the experience out of every single charm, which means you have to farm half the amount of charms. And if you're on Amlod hours, that's 240% experience from your charms. Making your charms go as far as possible is really beneficial because then that leads to less farming. And you'll be surprised on double XP how far your charms actually go towards a Pack Yak or a Ripper Demon or whatever. Getting that level 96 is huge. And something I just want to comment on the back of the buyables: do not train prayer on double experience weekend. And I would also avoid runecrafting. Prayer and runecrafting, the most efficient ways of doing these skills, are not boosted on double XP. Demonic Skull does not receive a boost from double XP, so doing Abyss runecrafting barely gives you any more experience. It's about 21% more experience an hour. The only thing that's boosted for prayer is cleansing crystals, and they are not efficient to do. You are much better off just doing Dragon Bones off of double XP and utilizing your time on double XP on any other skill than these two. Because getting 21% more experience in runecrafting and only saving a little bit of money and getting a little bit more experience an hour in prayer isn't worth training these skills over any other buyable or even any other gathering skill, because at least you're getting 2 times XP. So unless you really have to train these skills and it's like your last skill for maxing, I would advise avoiding them. So now moving on to a couple of tips that I'd give people for double XP to utilize what they have in their bank or on their account. The first thing would be using your player-owned farm beans for experience. I will leave a really useful wiki page in the description that shows which give you the most XP per bean. Golden Dragonfruit is the best, but it does require a high level. So at lower levels, you may want to do normal Dragonfruit, for example, and that wiki link in the description will show you exactly what you should do at your level. Utilize your beans, get those farming gains. Another thing that you should always do is utilize all your skilling dummies and proteans on double XP. Avoid using combat dummies though, because they're just not good. You're much better off training combat normally and actually getting money from it rather than AFK in a combat dummy, because the experience an hour from those is trash. Whereas every single skilling dummy is really good experience an hour. Most proteans are good. You don't really want to do protean cogs, like stuff like that are really bad. But using your proteans to better your skill for free is really useful for buyables, and it also gives you tons of experience for hunter doing carrion chadinkos. So if I was going to advise any proteans for double XP, it would be hides, as I feel like they are the most efficient when it comes to GP saving, or Protean traps at Carrion Jadinkos. Those are absolutely insane experience an hour, and it's AFK Hunter, who doesn't love that. Definitely utilize these on double XP. Another thing that is important to note, a lot of people need 120 Dungeoneering for comp, or they want to get Master Questcape, which requires 117. Do Dungeoneering on double XP, as it's much easier to find a group. Dungeoneering's kinda dead for finding groups outside of double XP nowadays. But during double XP, you'll be able to go to the Dungeoneering world, or ask your clan chat, friends chats, communities, and I'm sure you'll be able to find a decent group of people to run with. Another thing that I would 100% recommend if you need combat XP is running ED3. Again, ED3 teams on double XP are so easy to find. Whether you're in a friends chat, a clan chat, go into World 2 outside of ED3, you can find so many people to group up with. ED3 trash runs are over 3 million experience an hour. I did ED3 trash runs with a Sun Spear and Lunas to test out the experience, and I was getting 3 million experience an hour with that gear. So even with lower gear, you can get so much experience from these runs. You can literally push it to nearly 5 mil experience an hour with very good gear. That is insane. Definitely power level your combat stats to 99 if you haven't already and you want to get into bossing. This is the best way to do it. Another really useful thing is if you have enough time, utilize your double experience toggle. I made a whole video on this, which I'll leave in the description, but utilizing your toggle is so beneficial to XP gains. One of the biggest places to utilize your toggle is Hall of Memories. You can toggle your double XP off, fill up your inventory full of jars, and then just yeet those jars for maximum experience, toggling your XP back on. The biggest amount of XP you get from Hall of Memories is from the jars being dunked, not from gathering and filling up the jars, right? So you're getting your double XP on dunking them, and you're not wasting time with double XP filling them up. It is insane. But again, you do have to do nearly 5 hours a day to keep up with the double XP time to use it all up. So if you can't play for more than 5 hours a day, the toggle isn't going to be that useful to you. Another way to utilize the toggle would be doing double XP money makers. There is a ton of money makers on double XP that don't necessarily give you XP, but the money you get from them is insanely high. This is stuff like unfinished potions, tanning dragon hides, doing herb runs. There is so many different things that go up in GP during double XP weekend. And if you can toggle off your timer and not care about XP for a little bit and make a ton of money to then invest in more skills when you toggle your timer back on, that is so beneficial. And lastly, if you run out of money, you can't do buyables or whatever, just do any skill. Doing any skill on double XP is still going to save you time, and it's always useful to actually do something rather than nothing. A lot of people get sad because they don't have money to spend on double XP, but even doing gathering skills or going for goals like Prif, getting level 75 in every Prif skill, or getting a 120 for comp, etc., can still be really, really beneficial to your account. So don't get demotivated if you run out of money or whatever, just work on another goal. And that is it for this video. Hopefully these little goals and tips and stuff are beneficial. I know there is a lot of returning players, so this was mostly aimed at them, but maybe it may have reminded you to use your player own farm beans, or your dummies, or your proteans, or something like that. Good luck on the gains for double XP when it rolls around, and as always, let me know in the comments down below what you're planning on doing on double XP. And as always, until next time, see ya.